Yep.
I believe on the mailer you sent out, there's something about redevelopment funds. Did you discuss it?
I have, I can talk about it, go ahead. Well, just one thing, Supervisor Carrillo's office did send an email to Eric Rosser at the county, asking him about where those redevelopment funds are going. But as far as I know, the redevelopment funds are still locked up to cover contracts, existing contracts, before the redevelopment monies were taken away. So, and those contracts are going to take a while to be paid off. So I don't know whether that much money is actually being funneled back into the library.
The library recently received about $30,000 in redevelopment funds refund from that agency. However, what Mari says is correct. We've been told not to expect that amount each year, so it's not something that we can really budget for ongoing expenses. But we had redevelopment people come and talk to us about 6 months ago at one of the commission meetings, and they told us to expect over time, over 30 years' time, that we would get little dribs and drabs out of the current contracts that are in effect and being wrapped up.
And that 30,000 is not just the Russian River area. It's also Sonoma, Sebastopol, Santa Rosa, Cloverdale. I mean, it's the entire county, so it's just a little dribs and drabs.
Yes.
This is something that's aggravated me for years. I don't understand why the library, which is suffering so much for funds, can't take new books, new DVDs that are donated directly into their system to be used. It seems to be an obvious way to not have to use funds, and it's a source that's not being utilized.
We can put in new books, and we do as we find things that the library needs. But if the library doesn't need that title, or we've already got too many copies of it, then we do pass it on to the Friends for them to sell at their book sales. As far as CDs and DVDs, I'm concerned about that also. The problem with media is that we have to send it to Santa Rosa, get it processed, which costs money to put on all the tags, all the bells and whistles, and then so that's an additional cost that's not coming out of the library itself. So for that reason, I've had to turn down collections, very valuable collections of DVDs, because we don't have the funds to process them.
What about just telling the person who's donating them, this is going to cost the library an extra X amount of money? Perhaps that person who is interested in having that collection donated would be willing to pony up that money, so that you don't have to ignore that donation.
That's possible, and I can put that through. We have a new collections manager, so he might have ideas on the subject. So I will pass that forward.
Yes.
Is there a barter or exchange service in Guerneville?
Not that I know of.
That's a function the library can do. And the other thing is, as we're talking about fundraising, we're talking about going directly from the need, we're going from the need through the financial system to the fulfillment of the need. If we had a barter system, a lot of what we have, and everyone has in a recession, is people have time. Mm-hmm. If we had a way of letting people know, this is what the library needs, can you paint the wall out there? Mm-hmm. Yes. They can skip the money, except for the paint.
Right.
And we might be able to get the paint donated. So, and things like the teen room, mm-hmm. If the teens are involved in the building and decorating of that room, they will own it in a totally different way.
Right.
So having a barter system, and even something like taking books in and having somebody be willing to actually do some of the labor of putting the labels on. All of those things, we can get a lot bigger bang for a lot smaller buck.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
And I would point out that one of the ways that could be effected fairly quickly would be through the friends of the library, because, you know, if you can convince the friends that, oh, we got 3 people that would like to paint the wall, then, okay, make them friends, and then the friends can support it, and then we can probably avoid some of the liability issues or
Right.
outside people.
Is the Friends its own nonprofit corporation?
Yes. Yeah, it's a 501c3, isn't it?
Yes.
Almost every construction person I know is out of work most of the time now. If you need something built, I can't think of a better time to get volunteer labor. And I don't know about the materials part, but chances are, if you hit some of those deeper pockets, like the vineyards that are bleeding us in a lot of different ways, it's time for them to pay back to our community as well as the bohos.
Angie?
Maybe you should explain the difficult process when, for instance, if I'm going to donate a couple of Master Gardener books, what you have to go through to get the wall painted. You know, you just can't say the Friends are going to do it. Tell them, Ari, how many times we've tried to do things, and you can't climb a ladder.
Right.
You know, you can't do this, you can't do that.
There are any number of liability constraints on the library based on our insurance. I mean, the Friends, when they volunteer for the book sale, they're volunteers, so they're all covered by workers' comp. But it needs to be, they need to be careful. Certain safety things need to be in place. And to paint the wall, the one thing about Guerneville is that we're not owned by a city because Guerneville is not incorporated. We're owned by the county. We are the only library in the system owned by the county. I have to go through the library's facilities group, who then pass it on to the county, their facilities group, saying that we need the outside wall painted because it's looking atrocious. And the county has no money. You know, it's not the job of the library facilities people to do. And it's very convoluted, and then there's the insurance thing. So I can only proceed so far.
And Maury, and we've discussed about getting the wall painted, and the Friends, of course, are definitely willing to pay for the paint. And I've even suggested, you know, having a pizza party, and we'll just get a group of people out here, and we'll get the paint, and we'll get some brushes, and we'll paint the wall as members of the Friends. But look at the hurdles that she has to go through to even get that underway. And let me, as part of that, do you see the two little black lights that are at the end of the beams here? There's one set here and there's one set here. Well, the Friends purchased those lights for our Readers Theater
Right.
productions,
Right.
if you will. And by the way, as an aside, this is the only library that has a full-blown Readers Theater program. None of the other branches have been, for some reason, have been unable to get a Readers Theater program underway. And we're the envy of all of them, because we're the only ones who have been able to institute it and had it ongoing for several years. So that's a little thing that we can have a pat on our back about. But look at those lights. We paid for those, and I think they cost about